Thank you for joining us. I'm Brooke Buckner. We begin tonight with breaking news out of Conway. Police are on scene after a park gathering turned violent. Just in the last hour, THV 11's Rebecca Brown learned nearly a dozen people were hurt, some even killed. She's live at 5th Avenue Park tonight. Rebecca, what can you share with us right now?
Hey there, Brooke. Yeah, we just spoke to police, Conway police, hours ago, and they, like you just mentioned earlier, they have confirmed that 11 people were shot, 2 are dead, and 9 are injured and recovering at local hospitals. I mean, this was just talking to the locals out here. This was a night of celebration that quickly turned into chaos and heartbreak as gunfire sporadically just went out here. And we're going to show you the scene right now. The police are still working. Just right here, left over my shoulder, you can still see the police tape and the lights. Now, we were here and they had to keep pushing back the police tape and the police line because of so many bullet case shells out here that were fired out here late Saturday night. So you can kind of still see the scene of police still working, still very active. We're still learning more details. We don't know the 2 victims have not been identified just yet, but we're still gathering information at this time. But as again, I was just speaking to people out there today, and they told me that they were just having fun. They come to this park to gather all the time, and it quickly went downhill, and they were running and fighting for their life, and they just said it was a tragic story to hear and to be out here today. Again, 11 people were shot, 2 are dead, and 9 are injured, and we are still learning more details at this time, but as we do, we will keep following this story. Back to you, Brooke.
All right, thank you, Rebecca. Like she said, we will continue to follow this closely and we'll update you on air and online as we learn more. Well, some other tragic news coming tonight for the Whitehall community. Pine Bluff police confirm boys basketball coach Matt Williams died this weekend in a car accident. A police report says it happened last night around 11 on South Hazel. Williams' car collided with another truck going the opposite direction. The Whitehall coach died on the scene, and another driver was tossed from his vehicle. Police say that driver is in the hospital tonight with critical injuries. Coach Williams is the second Whitehall coach to pass suddenly. Ryan Mallett died tragically 2 years ago while vacationing in Florida. Tonight, we're also learning more about dozens of animals being rescued from what the Pulaski County Sheriff's Office calls a case of extreme neglect. The Sheriff's Office says they responded to a property on Rose Lane earlier this week, and this is what they found. We're choosing to only show you some of the photos shared with us from Jack's Second Chance Rescue Ranch. More than 30 animals were found, many packed in small crates on top of each other. While the rescue ranch is now treating these animals, along with the Sheriff's Office and Animal Control, they tell us 4 have died. But this will not be easy or cheap. They're urging the community to help these animals through adoption, fostering, or donations. For information on how to get involved, contact Jack's Second Chance Rescue Ranch or visit their website.
Happy Sunday. After a bit of a warm day today, we saw the high here in the capital city get up to 88 degrees. We have a cold front on the way off to our northwest. That'll be moving through the state tomorrow. Now ahead of that, we are starting to see that cloud cover developing across northwest and some of central Arkansas. Throughout the day tomorrow, we're going to see a mix of clouds and sun as that cold front is moving through. Can't rule out a stray shower primarily to our northeast, but looking to see that high climb to those upper 70s to lower 80s. Here in central Arkansas. Really, the farther north and west you are in the state will determine how warm you're able to get as that front is moving through. So some of our neighbors to our north, like Clinton and Mountain Home, will only make it to those middle and upper 70s, but the farther south you are, our friends in Stuttgart and Pine Bluff can make it to the lower and middle 80s. Farther south, Camden might even make it to some of those upper 80s, but as that front is moving through, we're going to see some cooler conditions for the middle part of your work week. Everything you need to know about the week ahead, though, is coming up in your 11-day outlook.
All right, thanks, Simone. A highly contagious disease not seen in Arkansas for nearly 7 years has health officials on high alert tonight. After starting in Texas this week, the Arkansas Department of Health confirms the state's first 2 measles cases since 2018, both in unvaccinated children who recently traveled out of state. As health officials work to contain the potential spread, Jacob Luthy shows us how doctors across the state are already seeing a surge in concerned parents looking for answers.
We're trying to raise awareness of the possibility of seeing more measles in the state.
The Arkansas Department of Health is working to identify people who may have been exposed to measles after 2 unvaccinated patients from Saline and Faulkner counties contracted the disease while traveling out of state.
We have been collaborating with those clinics to get a list of all the people who were there, and those healthcare facilities are following up and contacting those people, and then we are then following up with them to let them know about what they can do.
ADH did not specify where the patients traveled to. The department says the patients are under the age of 18 and that other patients could have been exposed when the infected children were taken to hospitals and clinics in central Arkansas. Dr. Jennifer Dillahay with ADH says measles is one of the most infectious diseases, with symptoms including cough, runny nose, watery and red eyes, and a rash.
If a person has a rash, we want to make sure they call ahead to their doctor and let them know, because if they go into the clinic and then they will expose everyone there. If someone comes into a room and there are people in the room that haven't been vaccinated or they haven't had measles before, then there's a 90% chance that they will be infected.
Springdale pediatrician Dr. Susan Averett says her office has already been getting calls from parents double-checking their child's vaccination status and asking if they could get a vaccination early. She's also already working on a plan to deal with the disease as a healthcare provider.
We're not considered to be in an area with an outbreak because we've only had those 2 cases, but we probably feel like it's just a matter of time. We have developed a triage protocol for our clinic so that when people call with certain symptoms, we ask certain questions.
Averett says she encourages anyone who has not yet to get vaccinated.
It is a worse respiratory virus than most and a higher incidence of requiring hospitalizations than our typical respiratory virus. So many people are very sick and need supportive care. Anyone who has never had measles and has never been vaccinated or has not completed their vaccine series should get vaccinated right away.
For decades, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., Donald Trump's now new Health and Human Services Secretary, has been a vaccine skeptic, even promoting claims that they cause autism. But in a recent sit-down with CBS's John LaPook, he seems to be shifting slightly.
It's one thing to say the measles vaccine is the best way of preventing spread, but it's another thing to then say, and therefore, we suggest that you get the measles vaccine.
We encourage people to get the measles vaccine.
Okay, so I think that's actually the next step, and that's news as far as I'm concerned, that you're saying that. What's the position philosophically of the federal government in terms of public health?
The federal government's position, my position is people should get the measles vaccine, but the government should not be mandating.
Understand.
But I've always said during my campaign and every public statement I've made, I'm not going to take people's vaccines away from them. Right. What I'm going to do is make sure that we have good science so that people can make an informed choice, and we are doing that science today.
We hear a lot about getting your kids vaccinated, but for adults vaccinated between 1960 and 1970, you most likely got the inactive measles vaccine used during that time, which was not as effective as the ones used today. If you're in this category, you're urged to get the MMR vaccine, which boosts immunity to 97%. For more info on how you can do that, you can find this story on the homepage of thv11.com. Speaking of health, hours after President Trump appeared at a Saturday night UFC match in Miami, the White House released his latest physical report. The president had his physical Friday at the Walter Reed Medical Center. According to the results, the 78-year-old commander-in-chief, quote, remains in excellent health and exhibits robust cardiac, pulmonary, neurological, and general physical function. The report also notes President Trump passed his cognitive assessment with a perfect score of 30 out of 30. The president comes as he continues to feel the heat from members of Congress and business leaders who worry about the fluctuating decisions over tariffs, including Friday night's announcement to exempt from recent tariff hikes a number of tech products, including iPhones. China's 125% tariff on U.S. goods took effect this weekend. From impersonating police to spoofing a number that looks like it's from your hometown, how crooks are using your area code against you, and what Arkansas's Attorney General says you need to know to protect yourself right after the break.
slightly cooler tomorrow, only looking to reach the lower 80s as a cold front approaches, but we've got some rain chances on the way. Everything you need to know about the week ahead is coming up right after this break.